Är du klar?
Ja.
Yeah, super. Yeah, we're very happy to have you here, Vilde.
Thank you.
Are you
Glad
excited?
to be here. Yeah.
Excited to be here?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, perfect. So, for the people who don't know who you are, can you tell a little bit us about yourself?
Definitely. Born and raised here in Bergen, the rainy town. And I was always interested in nutritionist things and that sorts. And
Since early age, or?
yeah, I believe it was after I had an accident as a child, because I was kind of obese growing up, or had a little too much.
Yeah.
And I believe in 7th grade or so, I had this accident on my back. So suddenly I was losing a lot of weight, and then that started becoming, getting more attention and that kind of things, and then understanding, what is going on now, right? And then I think I also get more focused around foods and those kind of things, right?
So you started thinking more about food and nutrition at that time?
Yeah. And also saw what it did to my energy levels and my body and so forth.
So 7th grade in Norway, how old are people then?
Are you about, is it 12, 13, something? Yeah. Around that age, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
So was it a serious accident, or what happened?
Honestly, it was a trampoline accident. So stupid. My back went into the fence, and I went to the hospital. I was there for about a week and had to recover. It went well and everything. But this was over summer. So when I got back, I remember people thought I got eating disorders. Like, why she was this and now she's so skinny? What happened to her?
So it was a large drop in weight in short time.
Large drop in short. And when you're a child, maybe 7 kilos, that could be a lot of weight, you know? So I think a lot had changed that summer for me. I think it was also the summer where I got my first menstruation. So just everything happened that summer. More becoming a woman. And I haven't even thought about it that much looking back. But
so you think this event influenced you a little bit in the way forward,
I haven't given it much touch, to be honest. But looking back now, I think so a bit.
Okay. Yeah. So and then this happened, and did you heal, and did things go well after that? Or?
Yeah, it went well, and I grew up in a place right outside of Bergen that is more from the 90s, had a really bad reputation. So I remember
what area is that?
Loddefjord.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So
I've heard that reputation.
Yeah.
I don't know where it came from, but I haven't experienced it, but I heard that.
Yeah. So it's getting better now, but it sticks from the 90s. So the environment around the schooling and all, I think it was not as good, to be honest. So actually in 10th grade, I changed schools.
Okay.
Just to get away from it, get a fresh start. So I think actually a lot of things happened during those years. But other than that, I grew up with a very loving family. Like my father, I think he really taught me to be working hard, and with a mother that taught me the importance of empathy and relationships building and being there for the people around you, I think. So that gave me a lot, and 2 older brothers. So I was always the younger sister, I guess.
So you have older brothers then?
Yeah, 10 and 7 years older.
Yeah, I see. So and then after you changed schools and did you early on think that you were going to have a company related to health, food and nutrition, or when did that journey start to grow?
I think that was when I went to America for high school. So I was about 16. And I didn't know I was going to do nutrition at the time or doing entrepreneurship before. It got me into it at the first time. So I came to America. Everything was so big. We had so many things that we didn't have in Norway or I've seen in Scandinavia before, right? This was it's 10 years ago, so I think it was 2011. So we've come a far way since then here in Norway and in Europe and so forth. But during that time, we didn't have those kind of things. We didn't have that Starbucks or nothing. So I had my first business class there in high school. And we learned about these business plans. And I was like, oh, this is exciting and creating stuff, right?
So early on, 16, and hearing about business. And
I remember that. And I called one of my best friends that was also in the States at the time, in another state. And I called her, oh, we have to do something. I learned to make a business plan. What about if we franchise Starbucks to Norway? And I think I was about 16, right? So, this is a great idea. In 2 years, we can do it. Yes, I think that was very naive, of course, but ambitious. And we had the dreams.
And did you call the managers in USA? And
I should have. I don't think that would take me much seriously, but I literally started making a business plan for franchising Starbucks in Norway.
Wow.
So it's funny thinking back. Obviously, when I was 18, Human Group or something else already did it, and that dream was crushed. And so me and her ended up traveling the world instead. For starting
kind of a good compromise.
Yeah, a good compromise then. But then as we were traveling, we were seeing all these other stuff like, oh my gosh, what about this? Why don't we have this here in Europe? What about these things? And also so many problems that you're seeing people are having. Should we try to solve this problem? And also getting back to the eating healthy part, right?
So that starts very early then. You're into nutrition and things which people drink and eat, and that continues. That comes early on,
And I think it was kind of a struggle because then I was very thinking about what I was eating and so forth. Also, as like a young adult, I think you're even more aware and also of the pressure, looking a certain way, training a certain amount, and so forth. And I think in that age it's very easy to identify with your looks. You're thinking, if I look a certain way, I feel a certain way, and that depends on your emotions, I guess, right? So I think you're even more obsessive during that time. And
so did you think about a little bit that you had to have a certain type of look to gain certain type of status or respect or admiration or something like that? Was that taking a lot of your energy at that time?
To be honest, yes. I actually believe so. And it's kind of sad looking back because I think I don't really know what idols I had at that time, but I think it doesn't matter how great you are. I think you always, in a certain age, you would always think, but this should be better and this should be better. Why don't I have this? I should work out a little bit more. I should eat less, and it's very unhealthy habits. And thinking back at those, I'm thinking, oh, that's crazy. I was so tiny at that time, and but it's funny. It does something with your mind, and starting us as kind of a beast, and also I think it also messes up your brain a little bit more. I suppose. So I was very aware of that when I was traveling around the world, and also saw it was so difficult eating healthy. Why is it such a struggle? Shouldn't like eating healthy be easy? It kind of gives us the quality of life and how long we're living. And certain parts of the world, and even here in Norway, it's hard. And also doing sustainably, super tricky.
Difficult.
So I thought, this is a problem, right? But I didn't know at that time that it was Healthy Eats I was going to be doing. Not at all.
No.
That came a little bit later on, I think.
You were searching. Do you think that you mentioned that you were obese earlier? Did you think that you become a little bit more afraid to put on weight because you had been obese earlier? Do you think that influenced you, that you were worried to be obese again, and then and that made an impact?
Yeah, I think if you've kind of been like that, you will always look yourself in the mirror and see something else that's not really there. To be honest, that gets better with age. But yeah, I think that was kind of a part of it. I remember 19, 20, maybe I was weighing myself almost every day. And that's not a healthy way of living, indeed. So it went from the one end to another, right? So I think, that was not good.
Thank you for sharing about that. I think very important to talk openly about for people who can. And would you then say that you developed a little bit obsessive behavior, weighing every day, and did you develop behavior which was repetitive?
Yeah, a bit, I think. I remember my best friend, and still is, we had this group on Facebook, me and her, and we would, this sounds crazy. Okay, how will I put this? We would write to each other every day how much we'd eaten that day. Like, I've had 1 banana, and I had 2 strawberries, and I had 1 crisp bread. It sounds nuts when I think about it. I think I still have that group. I should look it up, what we wrote there, and it was crazy. But then I did 1 hour of run, and then we're kind of keeping tabs on each other. Because we were so afraid of gaining weight in America. Every portion size was bigger, everything was bigger.
The food tastes much better.
It tastes better, and they had so much good food, right? So it was not good. And then you kind of put that pressure on each other. I think it was very unconsciously. But yeah, I don't think that was good. And good job, you didn't do more. Great, good for you.
Wow.
That is nuts. So yeah, that was 16. That's not a unhealthy thing to be thinking, right?
But then you had also an interest and knowledge about what type of food had calories, what type of nutrition. You started to at least have a understanding about that.
So much research and reading nutrition. Like, okay, if I eat this is much nutrition and so much nutrition, then I would get this energy. But then I can reduce that because there's lower amount of calories. So now I'm not a chef, of course, but I have a lot of knowledge about that stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you did the world tour, or you traveled the world, and then what did you do after that?
Yeah, I always been a fan of people. So of course I was thinking, I'm going to work in health. What else could I be working in, right? And my mom was a nurse growing up, right? So I was like, I'm going to do this. So I started to this college here in Bergen, and starting. It's called radiography in Norwegian, radiography. And I remember the first year, we have this practice at the Children's Hospital here in Haukeland. And I remember just like the first week there, I was like, this is not for me. Because my zodiac sign is Cancer. So it's like I can sense people's emotions very easily. So I remember like coming home from there and seeing all these children struggle. Maybe they got cancer in a very early age. They get to have this therapy, but then they would maybe get sick later on, and you knew that already. Oh, and I got home and my energy was drained. I was like, I can't do this. And my family, you will get used to it. Don't worry, you'll get used to it. But it killed me. And I was thinking, I love people. I want to work with people. I want to help people. This is not the way to go down. But then again, I'm not a quitter. So I was like, I have to do this. So I finished the semester. And next semester I knew, okay, this is for me. What do I do now? Should I say I quit? Am I a quitter now suddenly? Because usually if I say I'm going to do something, I tend to do it. But now I'm suddenly a quitter. So I was thinking, I need to do something completely different. So then I ended up in economics, because that's completely different, right?
Going back to a little bit what you were interested in USA, business, economics, a little bit on that spectrum.
I guess so. So jumping back to that, and I was thinking, okay, this is completely different. Maybe I'll find a way to work with people here. But economics is fun, understanding how the markets affect each other, what is controlling them, and how much politics is involved, and everything. So yeah, I ended up studying that for about 5-6 years. Took a master's. And I guess in between, me and my best friend again, same girl that was in the States with me, just traveled every summer. We did 3 months, and then we did 4 months. So we tried to take advantage and go travel more and see and live a bit, right?
Yeah.
So I probably spent all my savings on just traveling. So yeah.
So you kept on that lifestyle a little bit,
Yeah.
and with the same friend then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. You must be good friends today.
Yeah, we sure are.
Yeah.
She's my sister almost. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you grew kind of together in the traveling and discussing different type of innovations.
Yes.
And yeah. So did that continue to be an interest? Did you go to places and figure out what needed to be done with different type of things? And
we had so many discussions. Oh, what about this company though? Should we take that? Because I don't think you have to reinvent the wheel. You can look to other markets and see, okay, this is a really good solution to this problem. What if we place this in a new market and we make it even better and maybe put on a Nordic twist, right? Voila, you have a business. And that's kind of what we were thinking about. So yeah, I definitely looked at so many things, but I think the light to it first came when I got to Silicon Valley. So it was in my last year of my master's when I was working there for internship for the summer.
So that opened your eyes a little bit.
A little bit more, because I guess that you have a lot of innovation going on in America, but in the heart of Silicon Valley, I think there is kind of the key. Many people say that, okay, the founders of today or entrepreneurs are kind of like the inventors, kind of like Christopher Columbus was in the 15th century when he discovered America and challenging the status quo, right? And kind of like Elon Musk is doing today with, he's going to send people to Mars. Like, hello, that's nuts. But if he can do it, wow. What can that possibility, can that open and doors, right? And many of these individuals are coming from the same exact place. Like, what is going on in that bubble? What are they seeing and doing that we otherwise can't see, right? So I think I was very curious, like, what is going on there? If that technology and that what is going on there are shaping our future, then we can either say, okay, are we gonna sit on the sidelines and just see them making our future and how we behave? Just think about how much like Mark Zuckerberg or Steve Jobs earlier like are changing or shaping our future, or all in addition how we have our daily lives, what we're doing with our time, right? So I'm thinking maybe if we're trying to like stick that bubble and maybe look inside, we can maybe be a part of creating it a bit, or understand what makes it so special and what they're doing and learn from them, and trying to take it more here to Europe as well, right? And creating our own innovation mecca.
And you think that spirit and culture and mentality helped you? Did it give you confidence and shape you a little bit when you were there?
It's very strange because we were working in this, the company I work for, it was in this like WeWork building, right? So we had all these different companies. Some companies working in crypto, other companies were building the new Tinder. You had the whole range. And I was talking to all these different people and went to these like Amazon Loft events and so many networking events, right? And you know, the Americans, they are big talkers. And they were saying like, yeah, it was interesting because all of them had kind of the same mentality and thinking. They were certain, like so certain, they were going to be the next Facebook or Uber. For sure, or the next unicorn. Not a doubt. And I was like, oh, that's incredible. Have you founded some companies before? Yes, I founded 4 companies. They all failed, but this one, this is it. And I was kind of amazed, like, wow, that's admiring.
I have to agree with you. People, we spend time there as well. It's quite an interesting aspect. Like how the beliefs of people about themselves and the success is higher in that area. So it's an interesting.
And I think maybe if they believe it's possible, right? So maybe if they're almost half the way, if they just think it's possible, and then they try, right? So I think that I was trying to take that mentality with me when I got home. And also I saw all these sorts of companies that were doing things in a more efficient way than we do today in many other countries, also here in Norway, for instance. Like even like robots were making the coffees for me. And it was like, okay. And also you have the Amazon Go. Everything was working with sensor and artificial intelligence. When you went grocery shopping, you just went inside there, pick everything, You don't scan nothing. Just take it with you. And if you put something back, it would also register there with face recognition. Get out, they withdraw your card and get the receipt within seconds. I was like, okay, we've come this far, but still many countries are so far behind. So how can we use this? And also they had these other companies that were doing other greater things, like building communities and so forth. I was really inspired by this, also a food tech company called Sweetgreen. They had these great products and this huge community they built, and it was always like huge lines around the corners in the financial district in Silicon Valley. I was like, so I never had time to get the lunch, right? Because there was always a line. But then again, they were doing something right there because it was always a line, and I was like, they have this great product, but the distribution is not efficient. So I was thinking, I wish we had this back home, because it also made it easier to eat healthy, right? That was also a struggle in so many other countries, with few exceptions.
And when you were thinking this at that time, were you a little bit set on doing something by yourself, or were you in a dilemma whether you should work for a company or someone else and then start something by yourself, or did you know that you wanted to start by yourself at that time?
It was a dream, to be honest, probably from already 16. It was a dream of mine. And I think I had a goal like before I was 30 or something. If I'm just going to start something. And I was exposed also at home to an environment where a lot of people were starting companies. So I was very inspired by them. And then I was thinking, okay, what can I do? What problem can I solve? So I think I really wanted to, but at that time I didn't know I was capable of it. It sounds strange, but I actually just taken the risk and just, okay, now I'm going to do it, right? This is a big risk. And, but I think I remember just falling asleep at nights. I was thinking, okay, what problem can I solve? How can I make people's lives easier? How can I make my life easier? So I was kind of obsessive.
You were seeking ideas and seeking concepts to work on.
Yeah, I think so. And I didn't know what that was going to be. I was thinking, this problem I have, maybe I can solve that. And then that suddenly came, always came, solution came, right? And so I was very searching and seeking, for sure. But I didn't think it's going to happen that fast. So I remember coming back from Silicon Valley, I wanted to stay connected to that bubble, because I felt I was kind of in this inspiring bubble with all these networking events and stuff going on. And I remember I went to Vegas for these hack conferences, and I was like, I want to stay in this when I get back. So I went to this startup school here in Bergen. I was thinking, there I can meet like-minded people, right? That want the same thing as me. Just create something and solve problems, right? And actually that is where I ended up meeting my co-founder. And the things started going on. And when you're in a startup school, they give you all these kind of things to do that you find very uncomfortable. Like, okay, today you're going to go out in the streets, you're going to interview as many people you can for about 3 hours and ask them about their frustration in their daily lives. Think about it. That's easy to do in America. But in Norway, oh my God. We're very locked, right? And if people approach you, think they're going to sell you something.
If you approach people on the street, they go the opposite direction.
They go the opposite way, right? They think you're a salesman and I'm coming there. Hello. So right, like, oh my gosh. Okay, but I'm very like, if I like to finish things, right? I'm thinking, again, I don't want to quit stuff. So, okay, if they tell me don't do this, at least I'm going to do it, okay? So we did. And I was like, what are we going to use this for? This is nonsense, I was thinking, right? So we asked all these people questions, like people and like business professional, grown-up, parents, students, like the whole range. Just general, what are your frustration in your daily lives, right? I was asking, and Ove at the time that later became a co-founder, he was just nodding, all the no's, right? And it was really funny afterwards because we were collecting all the notes and like, is there anything familiar about these people? And we didn't ask them anything related to food. We just asked them, what are your frustrations in your daily lives? Anything. And you know what they all said? Or at least almost them? They said, it's a struggle to eat healthy in a daily life, in a busy life, right? I'm like, yeah, that's my problem too. And we all share the same thing. Yeah. Okay, here we have the problem. This is a problem we need to solve. But then again, is this only for individuals? Or is this for society? Or is this random that all these individuals said the same thing? Yeah. So we started looking at research. And then we found this report. It was kind of new. It was like from autumn 2020. And there we saw it was about 70% of Norwegian adults are obese today, and 1/4 of every children. That's a lot. And it's no good. It's not good for your physical health. It's not good for your mental health. And in addition, it costs the Norwegian state a lot of money. We use about, I saw the numbers, like 68 billion NOK yearly on diseases like diabetes, and it could be avoided. And it says in the report, the problem is lack of healthier options available. I was like, okay, so I have the problem. The researchers are giving me the solution. Where's the wrapping, right? But then again, I had no money. I spent all my money on traveling the world. So I was like, okay, what now? What do we do? We need to test this, like, as you call it in entrepreneurial language, like the MVPs or so on. So I think we have like 3,000-4,000 that we got from a startup school. Yeah. So we could do like a super small MVP, like the dot is, we get some, how many people clicked on this if we said, oh, healthy meal on the go. So we saw, okay, we got a pretty good conversion rate there, about in 30% in a few days. Yeah. So we started applying for Innovation Norway grants. I think the first one is about 50 to 100K. Yeah. We were lucky, we got that. But then again, today, how much can you do for, they give you first 50 and then they give you another 50. So I have about like, okay, we had about 50,000 to make a company, okay? And you have to make a menu. You have to have a shop. You have to do marketing. You have to have people, branding, everything, right? Okay, where do we start? Like, you have no clue and you almost have no budget. So I was thinking, maybe we can use work power of other countries. I heard about these sites like Fiverr and everything they taught us at the startup school. Yeah. So I contacted this Indian guy. So he helped me make a logo and getting the brand up. I think I spent like 500 kroner to make Healthy's logo. Yeah. And that's still there today. Yeah. So it was that was a good catch, right? Yeah. And then we were starting thinking, okay, we need to get the best menu. So I was thinking, I need a world-class chef. And I want this guy. So I was thinking, okay, he has no idea what we're doing. We're no company yet. But I called him. He didn't reply, obviously. I emailed him. He still didn't reply. And I did that for a while. But I'm kind of persistent. I'm like, no, I need a world-class chef to make this menu. Because if people are going to change their behaviors, eating healthy, the food needs to taste very good, like delicious.
But did you guys wonder about that people might say that it's a problem to eat healthy, but actually they don't want to? Like people might say it as an excuse to go to McDonald's or something like that. Is that
definitely,
was that something a lot on your mind?
Definitely, and because we're easy people, right? So we actually did a research on that too. We looked at what are the attributes like that makes people buy certain things, and it sought to be, it was taste, and it was availability, and it was price. Yeah. So that we knew, okay, if people are going to buy this, it needs to taste really good, because that's what's important to people. It needs to be available, and it needs to be affordable, right? So we knew that right off the bat that needs to be in place. So definitely that's a really important thing, and understand that healthy doesn't need to, you don't need to lose the delicious part in it, right? Because it's kind of you think that if something's going to taste really good, it's almost always unhealthy, right? But it doesn't need to be that way. So I think that's kind of a lesson we learned during the way. But I think that's why we needed the world-class chef to show, okay, at least he should be able to make something like that.
Exactly. I think it's a good point. I think for many of us, including me, maybe it's like if you think of very healthy food, then often people think, it's not as tasty.
No.
I think it's some cognitive association which people often have. It
know.
doesn't have to be true, but I think many of us associate that. But yeah, so you try to solve that, and that's where the chef comes into play. Yeah.
And after a while, I texted him at last, right? Okay, I'm going to... And then he actually replied, okay, you can send me an email.
Yeah.
I did so, and actually he was convinced. Yeah. So it ended up, long story short, he made the menu. It was incredible. Food tasting great. But then my budget was almost gone because he's expensive, right? But I knew at least we have a great product. People would love this if they just try it. But we need money to take up the shop. So we had a few thousand left. So I was thinking, okay, I can afford putting up a shop. But what if we rent a shipping container? So we did. It was a blue shipping container. And we took around all these posters with green, with the logo the Indian guy made me. And remember, we actually, Alve, my co-founder, he was making the bamboo stand. We got a music speaker from home. I got some plants at the IKEA, and voila, we had a shop. And yeah, and we opened and see, is this something people are willing to buy? Or is it just a problem people don't want to get solved, right? Or maybe they say they have it, but they're not willing to pay for it, as you said, right? Opened up a shop, didn't have any money for marketing almost. I think I used a few hundred kroner on Facebook, and I was like, is it going to come anybody at all? And at first people thought we were a DJ booth. So it was like, no, we're selling salad bowls. And yeah, in those 10 days out of that shipping container, I think I sold bowls for about 40,000. And I had like no brand, no nothing. So I was like, okay, this is something people are willing to pay for. And people are starting to come back. And I asked some of the customers, like, it's so nice of you coming back. Can I please ask you why? Are you eating really healthy and on a regular basis? And the person said, actually, I don't, but this tastes good and it makes me feel good and I'm saving time. So that's why I'm coming back to you. And I was brilliant.
We got that insight from,
the customer. And I was like, that's the thing, right? And then we knew, okay, we found a problem and we found a solution and we knew people were willing to pay for it. Okay, now we need to work more on the wrapping because we can't use shipping containers all over town, right? So, and I guess that's where the Healthy Eat journey started. And me and Alvin started getting more, okay, we need to find more solutions here. I had some inspiration from Silicon Valley. He'd been living in France. He was taking stuff from there and putting different things together. And then we ended up with these food walls, right? Because they were efficient when it comes to placing them.
Yeah, going back to about the distribution challenge, which you thought about.
Yeah.
But yeah, great background story about the company. And being an entrepreneur and a CEO, did you believe it was gonna be so hard, or what were your expectations before you started?
I think I was maybe kind of naive when I started. It's like, of course, this should be. That was in a place where I started getting more confidence because I was making progress. So I started getting more and more confidence than I had previously. But I think it was also a good factor being kind of naive because I didn't understand what I was getting myself into. So now maybe that was a good thing, right? Because it's been a lot of challenges and hard things and days when like, what am I doing this? Why am I doing this crazy stuff, right? And seeing your friends also like getting done with their master's degrees, getting these great jobs, trainees jobs, and you're like here with no money.
Salad bowl.
But the salad bowl from starting with the container, right? And like, remember when a person told me like, you're standing in a shipping container. You have a master's degree in economics. What are you doing? And I'm like, you don't see the vision. We're gonna change something with this. Like we're gonna improve the public health and solve a problem here, right? So I was trying to like look back and look at the bigger picture. And knew that we have a lot of problems with our food system today, how stuff is produced and how much meat we're using, right? Everybody eats red meat. So I was thinking, oh, we need to change that in the same way, and we need to combine these factors together, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, obviously it was a lot of obstacles being entrepreneur and being head of the company, and the vision, how should we spend time efficiently? How should we spend our money? At least one, yeah.
So a lot of stress, as probably many founders and people in the startup industry and tech industry know. There's a lot of ups and downs and stress.
Yeah.
So can you share some ups and downs? Like what has been your most challenging moments in the journey?
I think a lot of things just sticking with it, because during the whole road, it's been a lot of like challenges, like think are not obviously when you think everything is going to go after your plan, right? In most cases, it doesn't. It doesn't go according to plan. I remember like the day before we're opening our first food wall in Norway, our payment solution was gone. Like the tracking system was gone. We called UPS. Where is it? We don't know. And I remember the press was coming, and this was the day before, and I just had to show, like, take it, construct that it opened up, so they would think everything was working, but it was not. Yeah. And that was rough, right? Because you were thinking, oh, now we're going to open this, and now everybody's going to think it's a failure, right? Mm-hmm. Luckily, actually, half an hour after launch, we checked the payment system down and got it up and running, and it went quickly. But stuff like that, or before we got the million grants from the Norwegian Research Council, it's kind of tough, like going around like, yeah, I'm doing this. I think the Norwegian mentality is it's how can you put this? Maybe some people think it's not as cool to be in the beginning of your career, like being a rapper and only have 2 fans sharing at you. But it's very cool to be Beyonce, right? So it's like, but Beyonce didn't start at the top. She worked her way up. But in the beginning, you need to start somewhere. And I think we forget that people, when you're starting here, it's kind of like you're getting more shy. And yeah, I have this small thing going on the side. And oh, can you live off that? Hopefully I can in a while. And you're trying to put it aside, right? So I think before you get recognition from the media and the market, people think like,
Did you feel before you got the recognition that people spoke with you with a sympathetic voice? How was it going? And a bit like that you had a problem.
Maybe a bit. Maybe that's a little crazy. Of course, I have to say, a really supporting family. But yes, I think maybe it was a little bit skepticism. Maybe, oh, are you sure you want to do this? But good for you, right? So that you're doing this, and right? And then suddenly, when you get recognition from the market and the media, everybody's, oh yeah, this is a great idea.
Afterwards,
this is really good, right? This is definitely something you should be doing. And like, and it's always been that way, right? So it's strange, and I wouldn't be surprised if many people are feeling it that way. But I remember maybe some downturns when people, like in the beginning, before we had the first launch and we were in between the container and the food wall, and I was kind of doing a part-time job on the side, and I'm thinking like, is this going to work? Then I remember I had a little bit breakdown, and I was kind of devastated, like, I'm out of my head, this is too much, I'm never going to be able to do this. And when you first go down that spiral, you just go down the hole, right? And then you're thinking, questioning everything you're doing, but, oh no, this is also bad, and maybe I'm not good at communicating, I can't be able to sell this company, nothing's going to work, right? And then you just go down the hole, and then you stay there for a little while, right? A few days, and you have to pick yourself together. And
how did you do that? What do you think is your key to picking yourself up, or when there are challenges?
I think it's a combination of things. I think,
of course, healthy food.
Yeah, healthy food, but it does a lot to your mood. That's actually really, really important. And I think I have I call these the easy buttons and the reset buttons. So an easy button could do something when I'm digger down the hole. That could be like eating more unhealthy foods, watching TV, negative self-talk, locking myself in. That could be like an easy button. This is easy, just go digging deep. But then I have kind of my reset buttons. That could be like taking a really cold shower or doing my morning routine with the meditation, a good cup of tea, right? Or just going to the forest and walking my dog. Those kind of things, or just going for a run with really high music on and just trying and getting things in perspective. Because I think when we're trying to look at the thing outside of it, thinking, okay, what are we actually trying to do here? Why am I doing this? And I was thinking, okay, if this doesn't work, you can always pivot, right? Then we can change up the solution a bit and do this instead. So I try gaining perspective, and maybe you have to disconnect to connect. So I think that's important. And I even did that yesterday. I felt a little bit like rocky, maybe because I was going to do this, and I was a little bit okay, and I'm a little bit out of it. It's been a summer. And so I went up to hike Ulriken in the pouring rain. No music, no phones, no nothing. Just to disconnect. And then it makes you maybe take your shoulders down and, okay, getting a little bit back to nature, right? So small stuff like that, it doesn't need to be the big things.
It sounds like a very well thought of strategy. Did you get any help with forming that strategy, or has it been evolving over some time? Or
okay, I read a lot of books, at least the last 2 years, and probably about like 50-60% of those books is self-help books. So that's no. So probably...
I hope written by many psychologists.
Yeah, probably, is right? Everything like from Napoleon Hill to like... You have the whole range, right? So I think a lot of inspiration from there. And I've been writing a diary since I was in the States. I actually write diary every morning and every evening.
It's a great exercise. Aware of the thoughts, emotions, what's going on. Yeah.
It's not much I write. I write like 3 things I'm grateful for. It could be, I'm so grateful I had this great coffee in the sun this morning. It could be as easy as that. And then I maybe write 3 things that will make today good. And kind of like one affirmation. I've read in self-help books that could be good, and it works for me. It could be like, I'm a natural communicator, or I'm good with people, anything. And then in the evening, you kind of write 3 things, good things that happened today. It could be, I made somebody smile at the bus today, or I made this great meal and everybody loved it. And then one thing that could have been better today. And if I see maybe 3, 4, 5 days in a row, okay, that thing can improve. I know, okay, I need to work with this.
So, sounds very interesting. So your strategy is both a little bit related to different activities, nature, spending time with people, disconnecting, doing things a little bit differently than you've done before. And then also like reframing or seeking different type of thoughts around perspective, for example. And are there any special thoughts which have helped you most? Like when it comes to perspective, do you go back to like thinking, okay, I have a healthy body, or what are the thoughts which help you the most when you think about perspective?
I try to think about all the things I've seen when I've traveled.
Something you experienced before.
Yeah, it's easier if you could connect, because that gave me emotions. So it's easier for me to connect to emotions and see. But then again, everything is relative. So you have to compare it to your things again. Of course, I understand that, but that it makes it easier and looks from the outside. Okay, what is the worst thing that could happen? What if I fail this kind? What is the worst thing? Like the Norwegian society, we're really lucky and fortunate. All these systems we have when it comes to health systems and everything. So I was like, they're there to catch you if something happens, right? And so I was thinking, okay, it can't be that bad. If I fail anything, I can always pivot. So I would try to look at perspective that way. And I also tried to think always, because I think growing up, I always thought, this is not good enough. It's never good enough. I'm not good enough. And I remember people ask me, can't you be the leader of this thing? And I was thinking, why in the heck are they asking me for that? Me? You know? And it's strange because I think people saw my, if you can call it talent or values before I saw them myself. I didn't understand why they chose me for or if we have group things, they looked, okay, what should we do now? Don't look at me, right? And it's funny, but yeah, maybe some other people saw qualities that I didn't see for myself. I maybe found of them later on. Yeah. Said some natural abilities to maybe take care of the people's surroundings and try to make them feel good. So I think in perspective, I try to say, you're good enough, and this is good enough. And I try to also disconnect that I'm not the company. This is two different things. Because starting a company, everything goes ups and downs. And if I'm going to follow the company during those ups and downs with my mental and physical health, I think that's not healthy.
Yeah, that's a good thought. Good thought. Interesting to hear your strategy and how the journey has been for you with that. And this self-doubt, which you talked about, sometimes doubting, which is normal for most people. But do you think your self-doubt is strong? Since you talked about it being there for a long time, that sometimes people thought that sometimes you doubted that you had the abilities which other people thought you did have. Do you think that's a large Achilles heel for you?
Yeah, but I think if you have a lot of progress in a short amount of time, it's kind of builds you as a person, and also all the thing I've done that's been really uncomfortable has given me very valuable lessons in forms of human capital, right? But yeah, I think I still have to tell myself every day, this is good enough, this is great, because you want perfection, right? Everything you analyze, okay, this should have been better, this was only 90%. And then if you start to get an image that you're a good presenter, you feel more anxiety, because then you feel you have to present at a certain level, because if not, they're going to think you have a setback, right? And that's a strange thing too, right? And people say, oh, this was so good. But then you're so nervous, you can't eat, right? I couldn't even almost eat this morning because I was stressed, right? Yeah. So I still struggle with a bit, but it's you getting putting yourself in those situations more and more and more makes it less and less and less scary. Yeah, and you're trying to get your habits to, okay, I know I need to do this and this beforehand, and then it's going to work well. Yeah. So I get stressed, but I try to do it anyway. And then afterwards, you're like, oh, happy I did that, right? Yeah. It's funny how we humans work. When we never learn about it, right? Because we forget the next time. Oh, it wasn't that bad. And I was like, oh, it's funny that way. Yeah.
Okay, so you think that resiliency, that even though you have the self-doubt, that you sometimes get stressful, do you think that the resiliency is helping you, that you end up doing things which you a little bit dread, and then you keep moving the ball forward? Do you think that's a key factor for you?
Yeah, you get more and more used to living, having it uncomfortably. So I think every week I do something that I find really uncomfortable. Yeah. And it's like, I have a little bit of anxiety, maybe weekly, like, okay, this week, shit, I'm going to do this. Why the heck did I sign up for this? A little bit, but then you do it more and more. But then again, entrepreneurship, it's so much more than like starting a business. I think it's about passion, it's drive, it's self-discipline, it's creative thinking, it's grit, endurance, persistency. It's about like solving problems, making a difference. It's all those things. And I don't know, it's some of the reasons that you wake up in the morning and like, okay, I'm ready for a new day. Because before I was always searching, what is the meaning, what is this? But now I'm happy waking up in the morning. It wasn't always like that. Because it was more, waking up stress, and the first thing you look at your phone, and I stopped doing that now because it doesn't work for me, right?
Yeah. So you managed to find good balance and good strategy, even though things are discomfortable. Yeah, but that's often what people. I agree with you on that one. Like starting a company, being in those ups and downs. Of course, there's going to be a lot of discomfortable things, and so I think that were good words from you. So, and in regards to social resources, do you or people, as we might call them?
Yeah.
So, is that important part of your life quality and handling stress and challenges? You talked about your friend, your best friend. Does he play a lot of role in it? Then you have a boyfriend. And,
definitely. I think the people that are around you, actually everything we see, hear, read, people we surround ourselves with, or environment, that shapes me and my vision and what I think is possible. I think I read in one of these, of course, the self-help book again, that you become the person, or like the average of the 5 people closest to you. That's how you become. So I think I've always been aware of that, and having friends like my best friend, really supportive, and boyfriend, of course, that believe in you. Even the times when you think, I can't do this, of course you can. You're so good at this. Come on.
They're pushing you.
Pushing me. I remember coming home when I had my master's, and I'm coming home from like being in the reading hall, right? And before 8 hours was gone, a boyfriend said, why are you coming home so early? You need to read, right? It's tough love, right? But he just wanted me to succeed. And same with friends, right? We try to build each other up and try to push each other out of our comfort zone. So I think I have a lot of healthy friendships and relationships, and I think that gives me a lot of energy. Being surrounding with people, it's a lot of things that gives me energy. I guess, I like to capture things, and what gives me energy, I call the 4 P's. So P for people, being around people makes me energy, having fun with them, friends and family, and also purpose, having a greater purpose with what I'm doing. For me and for Lifekeys, it's the public health, and of course reducing carbon emissions in the food industry, right? And also have the passion, like I love creating, these kind of things, and also have progress. So that's the that I know those things gives me energy, and if I don't do those things, I'm like, oh, it's light up. Okay, now I need to surround myself with people. I need more progress. I need more purpose. Right? So I try to think that way, and I think that awareness has helped me a lot. So I think for people to just sit down and give it some thought and think about what gives me energy and what drains it, and be more aware of that, and put those in surrounding. And same with people, what people gives me energy and whether people takes it out of me, right? And because
do you have any bad habits, like people who've gone through stress or ups and downs? They know like you might seek into things which is helping at that moment, but not in the long run. Can be alcohol, can be nicotine, can be unhealthy food, or gambling, or whatever, or too much series watching, or do you have any tendencies to seek into also bad habits?
Definitely. So if I'm in a negative thought spiral and things aren't going as bad, as good as I would like it to, I'm going back to my easy buttons, right? I could binge a series in one day and not doing anything I should have been doing, right? Or eating stuff I shouldn't be eating, and just stop working out, and just stuff I shouldn't be doing, right?
You miss the routine, and then a little bit on eating unhealthy.
And everything just out of bounds, and then you just feel more bad after that, right? So it's just like, you can't win.
Exactly. It's often hard with that a bag of chips, after that finished.
For me, it's the Ben and Jerry's though, but but it's not good, and then so well it's not good for you, and but I have those days.
But you managed to pick yourself up quickly, and
And then I go back to my 4 Ps, like what gives me energy, and try to perspective again, right? And remember, don't identify yourself with the company. You are not the company. And I think in today's society, we're kind of thinking like, okay, if I present this and this, I'm good. Or if I can do this, I'm good. But if you put all those things away and just are you have to be good in yourself, right? In your own mind and thought, and no matter how you looked at certain day, or and that takes time, right? So I think it's getting better as we age, and for me at least it has, and I think that's it's for many. Yeah, but it's something to think.
Yeah. And looking ahead, what do you think for you are going to be the most challenges ahead the next years, if you think both about the company and you as a person?
I think handling expectations is one thing. If it's expected you're going to come this far in a certain day, maybe we can be far ahead from that. Maybe we have a backset and we need to re-navigate a bit, right? So I think... Is
it letting people down, or is it letting more yourself down, which is the hardest? Or
maybe others, but also myself. So I think handling the pressure of making the goals we've set ourselves, both for self and health leads as a company, and that we actually can contribute to changing the public health, or at least raise awareness. So all the companies are making more of those kind of foods, right? And also in a more sustainable manner. So if just that is a start, we've done something, right? So I think that will be important, and also get the people around me to blossom during the way, and because like building cultures in companies, right? Nowadays, I think like micromanaging is dying, and people, the millennials, want to work with something that gives them purpose. It's not just a paycheck anymore. It's so much more than that. It's like you want something that is bigger than yourself, and more and more people want to make a difference, because I have friends that are getting big salaries in big companies and so forth, and they're doing it well, right? But they're open to go down in salary to do something that makes them like feel that they're contributing to something bigger than themselves. I think there's a shift there coming, and it's for the good parts. Yeah.
And do you think that's going to be a challenge, since you mentioned that, like building that culture and then growing the team? Is that something which you think a lot about?
Of course, I do. I try to base actually a lot of the values for the company, or the culture we try to set in, is a lot of the same as I have for my personal values in terms of progress, relationships. I think it's very important to have relationships first at the bottom, and trust, and equal trust, and then you can talk business. Because if not, you can lose a lot of creativity and thinking, and then it comes to the freedom part. People need to have freedom. It's kind of like if you lock a bird in a cage, it can't fly, right? So I always tell like people in the team, if you work better there or in that times of the day, totally fine. As long as it gets done, it doesn't matter to me. Whatever works for you. I think that, and also trust. Okay, I did this many hours in this, totally fine. I trust you. I think that's really, really important, and it's something. And also giving them challenges they can progress in, so you can see people blossom and gain confidence from that. And I think then you feel more ownership as well. Because if you're not growing where you are, you're just going to look for, okay, where am I going now? I need to go somewhere else, right?
I see. Okay, and for you yourself, do you think it's going to be difficult to combine private life and keeping the company growing? Many founders often mention that as a one problem.
Yeah, definitely, it's tricky. The benefit there, it's that my boyfriend is also entrepreneur, so we're kind of in the same place, so it's easier to understand each other.
Mechanisms and
and I've been with him since he started his company, and now is all over the Nordics with his hairdressing chain and so forth, and I'm seeing what he's been through, and now maybe he's seeing me going through some of the same steps, and he understands. So I think that makes it better. But then again, at some point you want to raise a family. Okay, can you combine that with starting a company? And I think it's possible. You just have to adapt. And but it's going to be hard, of course. But I think you'll be more efficient with your time. I remember one of the girls I was studying with, she had 2 kids on the side. She was one of the best students in the class because she knew when she had to study, she did not procrastinate. She was just so focused and
no mobile, no nothing.
No nothing. She was really focused and she got the job done. Great grades, and I was like so inspired by that. She could juggle the whole thing. So I think it should be possible. But it's going to be hard. Yes, it's going to be for sure.
Well, it's been great having you, Vilde. Thank you very much for sharing your story and reflections with us today. One last question. If you could give yourself advice when you were starting out, the things you know now, if you look back, what kind of advice would you give yourself?
I would say to myself that you matter and you're good enough. Because that was always struggles to, is this good enough? Yes, you are good enough. I think I would... that should be on billboards in everywhere. You are good enough for everyone. So they should know that.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Vilde. It's been great having you today.
Thank you for having me.
Bye-bye. I don't know why I said bye-bye.